Hello, Elias.
Yeah.
Welcome to today's podcast for System 2 development. As you can probably see and tell, we have some new equipment. A lot of people have been asking us, why did we start with episode 4 and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? And the simple answer is that we didn't have the technology to record episode 1.
Right. Right.
Yeah, kind of like Star Wars, if you're familiar with that story. So today we actually have the technology. So now, today we're going to do episode 1. Are you excited, Elias?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see or to hear how it sounds.
Yeah, after we're done. Yeah, we probably should have done some testing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is the test. Just like jumping right into it,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this fancy new mixer and everything. And I hope you listeners at home, and that we sound crisp and the audio quality is, top notch. Okay, but today's topics. Of course, one of the first topics I think we should discuss is why do we start this podcast and what's it all about, So I think we're just going to jump right into it. And do you remember, Elias, what we were talking about, why we started this podcast?
I feel like to me it's more of a personal journey, kind of. Like to see if I can be better at talking and better at communicating.
Yeah.
And just kind of like with you, I feel like when you ask me to join or to do something, I'm kind of like, why not? Why not try it?
You would have said no if somebody else asked you
Yeah,
to make a podcast.
yeah.
Oh, that's quite flattering. Nice to hear that. Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense, I feel like, because we kind of talk a lot to each other in general.
Yeah.
And we tend to talk for a long time about different subjects. We go pretty deep.
Yeah. I feel like we often talk about very interesting stuff, and often I feel like we should have recorded that. I feel like we got to the bottom of something. That's why you should do anything, really, right?
Yeah. And so for me, I guess this is a bit more difficult than to do it naturally.
To do it naturally.
Yeah. This is more difficult than to do it naturally.
To have a natural conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to push your limits?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very good foundation to create a podcast or to join a podcast. But I know for me, the reason why I wanted to make a podcast is basically it's a lot about respect, And I feel like if you have a podcast, people will think that you know what you're doing, or that you have some sort of expertise in an area. And I often felt like that in my previous jobs, that people don't really listen to what I have to say. As a designer, it's so easy to dismiss your expertise because what are you really doing? You're just feeling and trying to make things look nice and trying to design things the way that you feel like it should be designed. And if you talk to other people in an organization, like business people or managers or something, everybody can have an opinion about design. But if you have a podcast about design, then people are going to be like, oh yeah, this guy, he made this design and, he has a podcast. So it's probably a correct decision that he made. I'm not going to come in here and give my opinion. I'm just going to trust this guy, because he has a podcast. So yeah, that's I think that's like the core of why I wanted to.
Is it really the core? Because I always thought that was a bit like a joke.
You
or
thought it was
like,
a joke?
not maybe like there's a half truth to it, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a half truth. I don't know. Uh, yeah. Also, I thought it would be like a fun project, just like make something, because usually, you know, as a game developer, I often make games, and it's so hard, and they're never. I can never finish them. You know, I never can make like a really good game because it takes years to make a game. And here, you know, with a podcast, you can make a podcast in an afternoon, you know, and just release it to the world, and it's sort of done. And there's something about that's which is kind of nice.
Yeah, to actually finish something.
Mm.
It's kind of interesting how, because I don't have this. I don't get so much satisfaction from finishing something, whereas you get all of it from finishing something, I guess, or more so than me, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we talked about this a lot. That I'm more motivated by the future or creating something, and you're more in the now, and more motivated by just doing. Yeah, like I don't think I've ever been able to do that.
Yeah, I like exploring the near future, kind of like. I just want to see where this goes.
The podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anything. Yeah. Just a fun experiment.
Yeah, I don't really have any expectations either. I feel like also it's about learning the craft of talking, like you said. I think it's a very good skill to have, you know.
While being put on the spot, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
At least for me.
You have to perform. Yeah, because this is a performance. Don't you forget it. Okay, so I guess that's kind of why we started this podcast. I think that's like a good thing to have in the first episode. And also another thing, I think we should use these 3 first episodes that we haven't made, like, because we started at episode 4. Like now we have the opportunity to kind of lay the foundation of our core philosophies, let's say, like things people should know before starting to listen to our podcast. And you know, one thing I think we should talk about is you know, what is the meaning of life? You know, because we talk a lot about this, and I think it's a very foundational thing in our conversations. And I think there's some definitions that we both share that, you know, the audience might not share with us. So I thought we just should talk about that. Okay, so Elias, do you want to start? Like, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose?
I guess my answer is kind of boring because I don't.
You should get closer on the mic.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there is a meaning
to life.
But I feel like I've, in a sense, like the meaning is to create your own meaning.
Yeah.
And for the human race, it would be nice if it furthers the human race or advances. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's sort of my definition. You know, anything that furthers the human race is a meaningful act.
Well, you don't have to.
You don't have to, huh?
No.
But do you think you can avoid furthering the human race?
Well, for example, a researcher who's researching a hard problem, and he finds out that it didn't work. I mean, it's not. At least we know that. Okay, we went down this path, and it didn't lead us anywhere, so no one else can go there, or no one else
Has to.
So I guess that's still meaningful, like no matter what you do.
Yeah. But it's because specifically how you would further the human race, I think it can manifest in two different ways, and one of them is genetically, and the other one is mimetically, like Richard Dawkins would say, like if you give birth to new ideas, then your life is meaningful, or if you expand the collective human consciousness or knowledge bank, or you give birth to some kids. I think we all can agree that that is probably meaningful. I've never tried it, but it looks like it gives people meaning in their lives.
Yeah, or it's new potential.
It's new potential. Yes, you give birth to potential. And many would argue infinite potential, but I'm not sure about infinite. Maybe
if you'll survive an infinite amount of time.
If the baby survives an infinite amount of time.
No, like the baby grows up, have another baby, and
yeah, it's sort of infinite. Yeah. And that's why you shouldn't kill babies, according to some people. Anyways, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, like I would summarize this as art. Like the meaning of life is to create art, and art is any action or process that furthers the human collective consciousness.
I think I would say that as exploration.
Yeah, explore, like figure something out, whatever that might be.
Yeah, at least I feel like that's my purpose, or that's what I want to do, just to expand my knowledge and try to, especially in programming, to become a better programmer, to find more different ways of programming, creating things.
Yeah. Because are you focusing on communicating what you learn to the world, or?
So I think, so maybe this podcast can be an opportunity to communicate more.
Yeah.
But I've never been, like I never had a blog, or I never really shared so much, except maybe the end products to my closest friends.
Yeah. Because I think it's like a 3-step process, First you have to figure out how you uniquely want to contribute to the world, and then you have to become the best version of yourself. Like if you want to be a programmer, that's how you want to contribute. And then you have to become the best programmer that you can be, right? And step number 3 is expanding the consciousness, or like bringing something back to the world, So maybe you are transitioning to step number 3.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm kind of wondering like how music fits, because I also make music, or I used to make more music before. But it seems more meaningless than...
For you?
Yeah, for me it seems more meaningless than programming.
Yeah.
But paradoxically, people appreciate my music more than
the programming.
Programming.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very interesting. You know, for me, because I used to really enjoy drawing, and when I was a kid, I wanted to become like an artist, you know, like a drawer. But I always felt like it was too easy, like it wouldn't require all of my abilities. I wouldn't need to exert myself. I could learn to draw, and I probably could learn to draw really well, but it didn't. It wouldn't really. It wasn't complicated enough for me.
Mm.
And maybe the music is the same way for you. Like it doesn't feel as complex enough to.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a good explanation.
Mm,
It doesn't. It's not. It's not that challenging,
yeah.
or it's challenging, but in ways that's not. I mean, it's challenging. It's often challenging to come up with new ideas,
Yeah.
but with programming, I feel like I can come up with new ideas, but the challenge is to implement that idea.
Mm,
But with music, it's the ideas that are difficult
yeah.
often.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm at a point with music where I can sort of create whatever sound I can think of,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm limited by my ideas more than the technical aspect of it.
Mm. Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like because you know those base, if we could call it like a base art, like drawing or music, it's like is where you know new concepts get into the collective consciousness first, and then we sort of work from music into maybe like a movie, and then a video game, and then into academia, and then into our basically what we take for granted, like our comfort zone kind of our knowledge. And yeah, so people that make music or drawings, concept art or whatever, they have to come up with the new stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Do you feel like you're technically limited by a drawing, or
Technically limited?
yeah?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's only so many ways you can express yourself with drawing. I mean, you can't make you can't make it interactive, or you can't make music or put music to it, or animate it, because that's like
Yeah, I guess that's your game design way of dealing with it.
Yeah, because I feel like for me, I get the most satisfaction in combining these things and sort of finding kind of a serendipitous effect, like an emerging thing out of. Because if you make a drawing, yeah, sure, you can sit there and draw for a few hours, and you might end up with something that's beautiful. But then it's like, so what? It doesn't feel like it matters, But if you make a game and you make like an elegant system, and then you put animations on top of it, and then you make music to it, and then it sort of morphs into this thing that you can never imagine would arise from the sum of its parts, And that feels very satisfying to me.
Yeah, in a way, that's kind of how I feel with programming. But I don't really. I don't feel like I mix too much art into programming, but
You don't?
at least not music.
No.
even though I could.
Yeah. But you do.
Never really.
What about like colors and stuff and like rendering?
Yeah, color, but it's more like color science and design science. I'm more interested in that than actual design.
Yeah. Trying to break it down and make it correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And but I think like that's also kind of step number 2. And then, you know, after you, let's say you learn all these rules, then you would create art from them. You know, you would break the rules and make the art, maybe.
Yeah. It's a bit like a music school. You learn how to play correct music, or at least in some schools.
Yeah.
And then you can use that knowledge to.
Yeah, and it's like the famous Picasso story. He went to school. He spent, I don't know, 5 years learning how to paint, and then he spent the rest of his life learning how to not paint, or unlearning what he learned, or something like that. Yeah, or he spent the rest of his life learning how to paint like a child. There's some code like that. I think you all get a gist of it. Yeah. So, anyways, like that's how we view the meaning of life. I guess. Did we leave anything out? Did we leave anything out? Do you have more? Do you want to add to that, or?
No, I was wondering, like, what we disagree about. I think we disagree about something.
Yeah.
The meaning of life, but
I think the thing we disagree about quite specifically is whether you can reduce like meaning and morality, or how, let's say, a brain works, if you can reduce it down to first principles, or like if it's just the sum of its parts, or you can calculate your way to morality or something like that. Like, I always feel like humans are kind of special in a way, and they have something more that guides us. But you're more like a rational. Yeah, I'm more like a symbolic person. You're more like a rational person.
yeah. I think it's. I see it more like I want to see it more logically, I guess. Like how morality works.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, you always want to figure out how it works, and I don't really care about that. I'm more interested in, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really interested in how stuff works.
'Cause I feel like if you spend too much time on symbols,
Yeah.
or maybe not spend too much time, but if you,
Get lost.
yeah, it's so easy to create any meaning that you want in
Yeah.
anything. And to me, that just feels like speculation.
Yeah. Like, we talk a lot about the Bible, for example, or any story really. And I always feel like there's, if you read a text like the Bible, it doesn't really matter. Like, it holds some meaning that is, so deep, and that we as humans are, we wrote it about ourselves and just contains stories about us, and the fact that it's been passed down for thousands of years just like means that it's so dense with symbolic meaning, and we continually find new meaning in the Bible, and it just tells us how to live and how to be and who we are and all that stuff. But I feel like you often say that, fuck the Bible, it's just a book, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really mean anything.
Because I feel like you can make it mean whatever you want.
Yeah, you can make it mean whatever you want.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then why is your meaning more correct than someone else's meaning or my meaning?
Mm.
So I feel like it's generally a bad way of going on about life or figuring out how things should be. Or
So what is a good way to find out how things should be?
I would say it's more of my approach. Well, I guess it's more scientific. But of course, if you have a society that's only scientific, or maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it's too like cold. And art becomes meaningless.
Yeah, in a world where science rules, art becomes meaningless.
Maybe, but I'm kind of. I feel like I'm kind of like when it comes to music, I kind of turn on my art brain.
Yeah,
But when I do programming, I kind of turn on my like logical brain.
yeah.
And I think you can have both.
Yeah. But I'm reading this book now called, I think it's called Lost in Math or something like that. And it's this theoretical physicist. She wrote, because she's trying to find out why. I mean, we're all the theoretical physicists. They're trying to find out the rules that govern the universe, right? Trying to find the unified field theory, and now they only find or they only search for theories that are beautiful or that have symmetry and that have some sort of that feel right, you know, because the way they test the theories are so expensive, you know, with the CERN Large Hadron Collider and stuff like that. And it takes so many years and so much money to test a theory. And they can't just test all the theories and gather all the data. They have to make a bet on some theory. And usually they choose the ones that they feel are beautiful, you know, that they feel are correct. But yeah, that's like what I think humans do. They sort of see beauty in the world and they go toward it, you know, and they try to. That's like the compass, the North Star that guides you. You try to follow beauty, and you're trying to find out the truth from that. And even the scientists are doing it.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like trying to make the best code or the most readable or understandable code,
or the
cleanest code,
or the most beautiful code.
Yeah. And it's a desire we all have, but sometimes it's not doable.
Sometimes you have to make ugly code. Yeah, because that's the author of this book as well. She's like, she hates this desire for beauty in all the mathematicians and theoretical physicists. She's like, it's just as likely that the rules that govern the universe are ugly and they don't connect, and it's just random, you know. And she's trying to push. She goes around and interviews a lot of famous scientists, I guess, and then try to push them into talking about that. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, I feel like she has the same mentality that you have, that you you're just asking why does it have to be like that, and why did you choose this theory just because it's beautiful and symbolic and symmetrical?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm thinking of why we. Because one thing is that it's easier to work with. Like a more symmetrical algorithm or theory of something. But
if it's like a unified theory that just explains everything and it's just like a simple thing,
yeah,
it's much easier.
But now with computers, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be beautiful, if you know what I mean. Like machine learning is kind of an example of just
Ugliness.
ugliness. It's just a black box of random crap,
Yeah.
and it produces something kind of unpredictable, but in a way, something. I mean, it's predictable, but it's also not predictable at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of a way of taking this beautiful, perfect, deterministic machine and making it ugly.
Yeah. But like, what's the fundamental, like with DALL-E 2 and all the image text to image generation
Algorithms?
algorithms or models?
Yeah.
Is there really a way to make that without machine learning?
I would assume not. And I mean, at least the way what I know about machine learning, it feels more like the way humans think, and it's kind of random and chaotic. And yeah, I don't think you could do that with a beautiful algorithm, maybe. Yeah.
It's the same with the translation.
Yeah.
Language translation. There's no. Our language is too dirty to make it possible to do without
Machine learning?
or before machine learning. I don't know the details, but I guess some sort of non-deterministic way of.
Yeah.
That's the meaning of life.
That's the meaning of life. I think we covered that topic now. Yeah, good that we got that little extra tangent. And now we're gonna. I don't really have another topic. Do you have a topic?
Was it yesterday? No, today.
Yeah.
About if pyramid is more.
Yeah. You want to go down that road, talking about pyramids?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about the new city of Dubai. No,
I think it's called the Line.
the Line.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, and they're gonna make a giant city that is just a line through the desert. And apparently some Arabian prince, he commissioned this design, and he want to make like a utopic city.
Yeah.
And you've been watching some videos about this, and some architect reviews, and apparently it's a really stupid idea.
It seems kind of very student architect-ish type. I don't know.
Like a student project.
A student project,
Yeah.
with a lot of resources too.
Yeah. And you were asking, like, why does it have to be so cool? Why does it look so good and have all this like trying to be perfect? Why can't you just make like a ordinary functional city, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. Yes, but my point with the when we were talking about the pyramids,
Yeah.
I was saying that I think Oslo is more has brought more
Value.
value to the world than the pyramids.
Yeah. And I don't know if I agree, because you know, the pyramids has influenced the world in so many ways. I mean, if we could take the world like it is today and compare it to a world that never had the pyramids, I think we would see a world that is not as good. But if you take
Maybe just different.
it
You
is
could say the same with Oslo. Like in
Yeah.
5,000 years, what would the world be without Oslo?
in 5,000 years.
Yeah, I don't know, 2,000 years.
No, but you gotta do the comparison today. Today, the value of Egypt versus the value of Oslo. And I think if you had two worlds where one with Oslo and one where Oslo never existed, it would look very similar. But if you had one where the pyramids never existed, I think it would look quite different.
Because the way I see the pyramids is it's just a big monument to some kings,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Okay. And I mean, it works as an art piece, I guess. But I would think Oslo
Very expensive art piece.
also is going to have a bigger impact on society than the pyramids ever will.
Maybe, but we don't know that. It might collapse tomorrow. But
Maybe.
we're talking about in with the Lion City, and the fact that they're kind of trying to make an art piece out of a city is kind of wasteful, or it doesn't. It's not a good idea. Why does a city have to be an art piece?
I wouldn't say it's not a good. I like he can do whatever he wants, I guess. But
The prince.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems kind of. It just seems like a waste.
Yeah.
I think I would say the same thing with the pyramids. If no one had built a pyramid,
Hmm.
and some prince somewhere decided that they're going to build a pyramid where he's going to be buried,
Today.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's going to cost like 5 billion. I don't know,
5 billion.
some currency.
Yeah.
I would think that seems like a waste.
Yeah. It is a waste. I mean, I'm not sure every piece of art, but most pieces of art is waste of resources. But I feel like because this is my argument as well. Like if you have something functional, let's say a hammer. You have a hammer. What's the purpose of a hammer? Well, it is to build something, like build a house. Okay, why do you need a house? This is like, it's kind of in the end meaningless. The only thing a house does is it satisfies your human need to have shelter and to be warm.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing with art. It just satisfies the human need to have art.
yeah. Well, so I was saying earlier that, of course, everything is meaningless.
Yeah, of course.
But some things advances humanity more than others.
Yeah, like Oslo.
Yeah, I would think so. And also a hammer, I think, an invention of a house.
The invention of a house.
Yeah, or the concept.
Do you think houses were invented?
I would say the concept is more valuable than the pyramids.
The concept of a house.
Yeah, but
Of course.
of course, that's
Of course.
yeah. Okay, but more, I guess more concrete, the hammer is a better invention than the pyramids, I think.
It's a better invention than the pyramids. That's a hot take. I would also actually say that the hammer is a better
It's
invention
just
than
like the wheel is a better invention than
Yeah.
a lot of things.
What about like an ab thruster? Like on TV Shop, you can buy exercise machines, and like an ab thruster is just like for working out your abs. Do you think that's a better invention than the pyramids?
Well, if it works,
If it works, okay, let's say it does work.
okay, it does work. Maybe so more people have abs, more people have more confidence to do things
You think that's
create
more valuable?
Things
You think that's more valuable than the
very
pyramids?
indirectly. But you could say the same thing about pyramids, right? You were also saying this earlier, like the pyramids could have, like they've inspired a lot of people to maybe do things.
Yeah.
But I won't like inspire. I feel like, so I don't really look into pyramids that often. Almost never. It's
yeah,
not
same,
really,
same.
It to me it just seems like it seems almost like a hobby to study pyramids and pyramids only.
Egyptology, it's called. Yeah. Yeah, it is a hobby. You know, my stepdad, he's very into the pyramids and old Egypt and stuff like that.
And here's where the symbolic way of analyzing the pyramids, I feel, is can get very speculative.
Yeah, yeah. Because
there's more to it than
there is more to it. Yeah, that's like where the symbolic people get off the hinges, you know.
Yeah.
Like this guy, I watched this Joe Rogan episode with Graham Hancock, and he's all about that the pyramids are older than they seem, and the Egyptians, they just appropriated the pyramids from some ancient civilization that was much smarter and much more technologically advanced than, you know, we think. And he's all about, you know, finding civilizations that are ancient and that are more technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to read the books. But yeah, that's like symbolic approach to the extreme, I would maybe say. But I think that sort of stuff is really interesting.
So yeah, I would say those things are interesting within
reason,
like within a movie or within art.
Yeah,
but outside of art, it's not that interesting, I think.
You don't think symbolic, like the pursuit of symbolism and let's call it beauty, you don't think that's...
I mean, I would say it's interesting, but maybe not as interesting as you think it is.
As I think it is.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like if you make a game,
yeah,
you can go all out with symbolism and try and make
symbolic game.
I think that's interesting. Or if you want to tell a story, or
yeah. I don't know. I think maybe we should stop the podcast there. I think that's a good place to stop. A lot of people have been telling us that the episodes are a little bit long, going over the 1 hour mark. So I think like 40 minutes is good. But you know, if any of you guys got feedback about that, do you wanna hear more or less? Did you even get this far? I want to know. Leave a comment in the section below. And we've been System 2 development, and also like subscribe. That's a good, like on Apple iTunes. Do they have iTunes still? And my name is Tarja, and
my name is Elias.
And we'll see you in next episode 2, and it's gonna be so good. All right. See you later.
See you.